There was always a big discrepancy between the Sith and the appearance and aesthetics that each and every one had, especially the ones that we see in the prequels and therefore in the original trilogy and subsequently the sequels as well. For most of the time, we did not have a clear explanation. We go to the novels for most of the knowledge, but even now, with new comics coming out, we get to see a little bit more about one specific Sith that I think was the most intriguing out of them all, and it comes from the prequels. It was Count Dooku, or as he was known to Sidious, Darth Tyranus. This question has been posed a lot, even throughout the years. We saw Darth Sidious when he relinquished his Palpatine mask. He was a disfigured old man with yellow eyes. Even when he was giving the Imperial speech in front of all the delegates, all the senators, and even broadcasted throughout the galaxy, he did not hide his yellow eyes. He had fully embraced his newfound empire and his position as the ruler of that empire. After Order 66, we see Anakin, now Darth Vader, adorning the yellow Sith eyes as well. The major problem with this is that Count Dooku throughout the prequels was never seen with yellow eyes. This is baffling to many since he was a clear Sith. He had a real Sith name in Darth Tyranus, so he embodied the dark side too, together with Sidious, but never really seemed to be one. The closest thing we saw to Dooku having Sith eyes was a couple of frames in the Clone Wars series there, but those moments, or I should say seconds, of Dooku's eyes are so ambiguous that in the grand scheme of things, it's hard to count them in this discussion. Before Disney, we had novels and comics that are now legends, and therefore many could dismiss those as not being true anymore, but set aside the division between legends and canon. Let's even talk about canon. So we have the most recent comic that was released in canon about Count Dooku more specifically, and that was Star Wars Age of Republic Count Dooku. I recommend everybody go take a look at that. In that comic, not only do we see Count Dooku with a red blade betraying a fellow Jedi who did not know yet that Count Dooku had become a Sith, not only do we see Tyrannus in full Sith mode, but we get a glimpse of his face and eyes very close by. And again, as weird as it is, Count Dooku does not have Sith eyes as he is killing a fellow Jedi, as he is fully embracing his newfound persona as Darth Tyranus. Sidious would be proud of his actions, but as this comic reveals, even in the new age of the canon timeline, Dooku does not give us a hint of Sith eyes. So therefore, we slowly move on to the reasons why Count Dooku aesthetically did not appear to be a Sith. First thing you have to understand that Dooku was a relatively recent convert to the Sith, but that's not all, since Vader was also a recent convert, but he displayed his anger in his eyes, as we see him killing the Separatist Council with the darkness fully embracing him. Dooku had renounced the Jedi Order around the time when his former Padawan Qui-Gon Jinn was killed in the Naboo conflict. It is insinuated that Dooku blamed mostly the Jedi Council. They denounced Qui-Gon's warnings most of the time, and he saw the Council as arrogant and bloated. He assumed the title of Darth Tyranus, but had not gone so deeply into the corruption of the dark side yet to begin the transformation of his physical form, as we see with many Sith, especially Sidious. The rare times we see Count Dooku in conflict, we see that he is an unparalleled swordsman. He very much enjoyed using his lightsaber instead of his Force abilities, as we see with Yoda at the end of Attack of the Clones. He mostly dueled Obi-Wan and Anakin, and even his former Master Yoda, until he was resorted to no other choice but using the Force against the Jedi. If we compare Palpatine's eyes and his demonic features when he revealed himself as Darth Sidious during the fight with Mace Windu, in the novel, Palpatine insinuates that at that time he was completely shedding the mask of Palpatine that he had carried as a Chancellor. Now he showed his decrepit and scarred figure as well as his yellow eyes. He was an exceptionally powerful dark force user, and he had succumbed to the dark side wishes since he was a teenager under Plagueis. Even Anakin at some points, his eyes were not yellow most of the time, as we can clearly see. The only time we see him with yellow eyes is at very certain points, especially on the Mustafar massacre when he went full out with his anger. If we go back to the original trilogy, even when Luke removed Darth Vader's helmet to say goodbye to him, an old Darth Vader did not have yellow eyes. We could make a comparison with Darth Maul as well, but honestly, Dooku and Maul are complete opposites. Maul's behavior, mentality, and unwavering devotion to Sidious was mostly unmatched. Before he went his own way, Darth Maul from The Phantom Menace was the perfect apprentice. As well as him being a Zabrak, well, that gives him the advantage. The one person I could compare Count Dooku to is mostly, believe it or not, Snoke. Now, the sequels did a horrible job of explaining the origins of Snoke, but it mostly went on to say that Kylo Ren, Snoke, these were not Sith. These were mostly dark side experts or users. They did not fully embrace the Sith ways. Throughout the sequels, you can see Ben struggling with the decision to kill Leia, which he ultimately did not do. He seemed to struggle with the idea of killing his father Han Solo. So there was a conflict inside of him. You can say that Dooku fully embraced the dark side, but while corrupt, he still had some conflict within him, as a sliver of that was shown while he was holding Obi-Wan prisoner on Geonosis. He was trying to trick Obi-Wan, but I believe something was there. In my belief, the true reason why we never saw yellow Sith eyes on Dooku is that he never fully embraced the dark side to empower him. He never gave up discipline to sheer emotion. Dooku was the example of self-control. This was his discipline as a former Jedi and as an aristocrat. One of Dooku's defining qualities is his pride. He had too much restraint and pride to give in to hate in a fight. This goes on perfectly with his supreme swordsmanship. His style was graceful. It seems that only giving in to your emotions totally and embracing the dark side fully in anger gave you the Sith eyes that were ravaging in fear and anger, the fire inside you. We never really saw that from Dooku. He was always calm and collected. So I believe that's why we never saw Count Dooku with yellow Sith eyes. So in conclusion, Dooku was not the overpowering presence using his anger, jealousy. He was pristine. He simply outdueled his enemies, keeping the pace of the battle, using his knowledge and fighting style to defeat his enemies. One of the main reasons why Anakin beat Darth Tyranus, in fact, was just by overpowering him and by releasing his anger as Dooku intended it to, and unfortunately, it went against him. Dooku is just a diplomat. Palpatine didn't show his yellow eyes until he unleashed all that Force lightning against Mace Windu and therefore shedding his mask, as he told us, and even until then, Palpatine's Sith identity was kept a secret by his discipline, by him being a supreme chancellor and also a diplomat and a smart, silent leader similar to Dooku. So look at that. The Sith who remain calm are those who blend in with everyday folk, including Jedi Knights and Masters. So you're getting the idea of why Dooku remained very indifferent in his appearance even as a Sith. He was almost indistinguishable as a Jedi and a Sith. All that changed was maybe his clothing and the color of his blade. Guys, what do you think about this? Talk to me down below in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and if you enjoyed, leave a thumbs up down below, subscribe for dailies. Now you can have an awesome day, Star Wars fans. I'll see you in the next video, and may the Force be with you until then.